Hey all you guys, if you haven't heard about Mother of the Year in a while, I'm going to quickly fix that. I'm going to tell you about how my mother's obsession almost ruined my life. I get it, moms come in all shapes and sizes, but mine broke all records for her mega disgusting motherhood. Anyway, look, once upon a time, a long time ago, before my mom got pregnant with me, she worked as a model. From what she said, it was the best period of her life, and what's more, she was the happiest she could ever be. I didn't argue. She was often invited to star in movies, commercials. My mother's face was the face of many cosmetic brands. She made great money, and she was also never left out of the limelight. She was asked out every day, sent bouquets under the door via couriers. Mom's front was the only house in the neighborhood with 24-hour security, and the street was always littered with gifts for her. And then, after a few years of a brilliant career, she met a foreigner. He won her heart, and a week after meeting him, he proposed. There was a path of roses downtown, sunset, musicians, posters that read, "Will you marry me?" Their wedding was on TV. They were on the cover of a magazine. Everything was too beautiful to be real, but it was. It was a Frenchman who took my mother to Paris, describing the beautiful life they'd have. Mom dropped everything and left. At that moment, she was already pregnant with me. As soon as they arrived, walked out of the airport, my mother asked where the limo was, but just a cab came instead. My dad asked her to be patient for a while. They drove all the way across town and came almost to a slum. Mom couldn't believe it. Even when they went into this one-room apartment in a poor neighborhood, it turned out it was all in his head. He just wanted to get her and promised that they would get rich, but in the meantime, they could live on her savings. Imagine how mad she was. Dad certainly earned something, but not as much as he said he would. In general, my mom secretly left him, as if on good terms, and sent him home. She had to sell the house through agents and buy another one, and she had to keep a tight lid on it because she didn't want the press to write about her nightmare marriage. She didn't want to ruin her reputation. Mom went out of town and lived there for several years. During that time, she managed to earn money remotely. She continued to advertise cosmetics, furnished her room French style, pretended that she was doing fine. But she photographed and videotaped herself up to her belly. You get it right, she hid her pregnancy from the world, including her relatives, even though she had no one except my grandmother. But she didn't tell her either, so it wouldn't leak to the press. My mother called herself by a different name, gave me the last name of my long-dead aunt, and we lived like new people. I had a babysitter to look after me, and my mother took specific care of herself to regain her physical form. So there you go. She did. I was 4 years old by the time she got pumped up and made sure she didn't show any signs of childbirth. She forbade me to call her mom, so I called her Christine, her real name. I had a babysitter with me most of the time. And after another year, Mom made it official. She told everyone that she and her husband had divorced because of circumstances. She rented a fancy apartment in the center of town, and on weekends, she'd come to stay with me. The rest of the time, she worked. That's how we lived. And then I went to school. I was trained 100 times in other people's stories. Like, my name is Greta, I come from out of state. My mom is a regular manager, and blah, blah, blah. At first, it didn't bother me. But when I got even older, the school started having all kinds of parent-teacher conferences, concerts, do a fake with the parents, making videos of a dance and the parents and stuff like that. And then there were my classmates. I remember my friend Jennifer being brought to school every morning by her dad. They had such sweet goodbyes. Her dad would yell at her that she was his princess and kiss her and hug her. And after school, her mom would pick her up. She always greeted her with a smile and a can of juice. I was escorted out and greeted by my nanny. Well, she was basically my mom. And then one day we were driving home after school, and the nanny asked me why I was in a bad mood. "What happens if you get fired, Nanny?" Well, I've been working for you for so many years. I haven't even thought about it. Why? "All my classmates and teachers think you're my mom. If you get fired, what am I supposed to say? That you're dead? And if there is a new nanny, should I say she's my mom now?" Come on, honey, you have a mom. "She's there, but it's not like she's really there. Mom only works on herself. She hasn't even been home for the last month. She's texted a couple of times and that's it." Well, she's doing her best for you. "Are you sure?" She's doing it for herself so she won't get caught having an illegitimate daughter. Your mother was married. Not officially. Still. Okay, never mind. There's a concert at school tomorrow, and I'm singing a song. Do you think Mom will come? Of course I'll be there. I wasn't in the mood. I called my mom in the evening, wanting to convince her to come to see me sing. I wasn't even allowed to go to her house. Hello, Mom. Are you coming? Honey, I don't have time. You know I work a lot. Yes, but we haven't seen each other for a long time. And my birthday's coming up. Shit. Are you that unhappy? I forgot. I'm sorry. I have a big event that day. I'll send you a check. Buy yourself something. I have to go. Kisses. Bye. That's it. She hung up on me. I lay down on the bed and turned on the TV. I saw it live. Oh, my mom was on. I watched her through the TV and imagined how people would treat me if they knew I was her daughter. I would be followed too. Paparazzi, autographs, Instagram, and TikTok would explode. My mom looked amazing. She was at some red carpet ceremony as the guest of honor, and then someone interviewed her. The reports showed a picture on camera of me and my mom going somewhere together. She was wearing a wig, but they'd recognized her anyway. Mom froze a little, but wasn't startled. Who is that girl? Everyone is guessing. She looks a lot like you. It's the daughter of my maid. I just treat her well, as my own daughter. We went to pick up a birthday present for her that day. What? The maid's daughter? And you don't have children? No, not at all. I've never given birth. Look at me. I'm in great shape. According to your contract, if you give birth, it will end. Does that mean you plan to go back to the modeling world? I already am. I signed my contract today. You can congratulate me. Which one? She didn't even tell me about it. I'm the daughter of a maid? Ugh. I screamed so much that my babysitter ran into the room. I was furious. She couldn't calm me down. I went into her bedroom and started digging through papers. The nanny asked me to sit down, but I told her I would fire her if she interfered. She refused me. She just wiped my existence off the face of the earth to be a model again. I won't just let her do that. I grabbed what I needed and got in my babysitter's car and drove straight to the building where my mom was. I didn't know how to drive so well, but I was so mad that I somehow made it there. Of course, security wouldn't let me in at the entrance. I yelled and called for the model, Christine, but no one listened to me. And then they said they were going to call the police. And then I saw my mom coming out of the building with a glass of champagne, surrounded by men and women. Everyone was holding her arms and the train of her dress. She was smiling, bathed in glory. That's what she'd been striving for all these years. But then why did she give birth to me if I was superfluous in her life? I told the guard to tell her I was there. He didn't want to. Then I told him I would show my breasts on camera to the journalists and complain to the manager. He got cheeky and ran to her. The smile was gone from my mother's face. She lifted her head and eyes slightly at me and froze, just like she had back then, many years ago. I held up my hands and shouted, "Mom, hi!" I wanted her to come up to me, to be noticed, for her to notice me. And you know what she did? She shook her head. Her lips read, "That's not my baby. Take it away." And then she turned and smiled at some old man in a tuxedo. Boom. At that moment, a volcano exploded inside me. As luck would have it, the journalist who had interviewed her was walking by. I ran up to him and asked him to go on air. At first, he refused, but when he heard who I was, he caught the cameraman and got into the frame with me. He started off by saying that some girl you imagine is the daughter of a famous supermodel. I stood in front of the camera with tears in my eyes. I showed the documents confirming my mother's maternity, my childhood photos with my mother, photos where she was pregnant, sonograms, tests for everything. And people around me started whispering. My mother stopped on the stairs. I turned to her and shouted loudly, "Don't be afraid, Mom. Though you told me not to call you that, didn't you, Christine? I heard on the television about your career. Congratulations, it's what you dreamed of. You're the one who sent me off to the nanny. You never call or write. You hid my emergence into the world just like you hid my existence. And I do exist, like your shadow. I may or may not exist. But you know what, Mother? I'm tired. If you don't want me, I'll go. And you do what you like, just like you wanted. I'm done." I turned around and got in the car. My mother stood on the stairs, crying. Everyone was quiet, and then she was like, "Chloe, stop! Wow, I thought you forgot my real name. Have fun, Mom." I hit the gas and drove away from there. Then what happened? I packed my things and took all my savings with me. It's a good thing I knew how to save. I plan to live off that money and go someplace else.